the week ahead, and let's talk about the week ahead. The top cues. So there are a couple of results lined up as well. DCB being one from the banking space, but the big one is Infosys, and that would be the top cue into how earnings shape up, if not for the entire market, then at least for the IT companies. Sunita Nagpal is here with a quick snapshot of what you could expect from Infosys this quarter. Sunita.
Well, March is traditionally a weak quarter for IT sector. For Infosys, we are expecting for Q4 a 3% revenue growth. They are likely to meet FY13 guidance as far in constant currency terms, might fall short as far, in reported currency terms. But having said that, we are expecting margins to decline by 80 basis points, largely because Lodestone will be integrated as well as on-site salary hikes beginning from January 1. So that will have impact. As for FY14 guidance, which will be main in focus, the debate is still on whether they will guide or they will discontinue the guidance. Whether we'll actually get to know the answer only on Friday, but analysts are expecting in case they guide, they will be guiding anywhere from 8% to 13% kind of growth in FY14. If they discontinue guidance, there might be a drop in stock, and that could be used as an opportunity to get into the stock. To cut the long story short, if you're asking me whether we will see a pop-up as we saw in January when the results were announced, that's very unlikely, because remember, the stock has already gained 23% year to date. There could be some weakness if the commentary from the management is weak, or they continue giving the guidance for FY14.
Okay, Sunita, we'll leave it at that. Infosys, that's the one which is going to be watched out for come next week. And this week, it's had a rough ride. So to speak, the stock lost about almost 1%, though the massive selling really came in on a Thursday as well as Friday. CK, your take on Infi ahead of the earnings?
I think this time around there is a little bit of expectations, which was absent, I think, the last two rounds, and which is probably why we saw some exaggerated movements out of the results. Now, of course, every time it responds in a fairly marked manner post the results. But I think the build-up of the expectation to the upside might act against it if the numbers were not up to par with street expectations. But from a technical point of view, I think 2950 is what I would keep as a kind of cutoff. If the stock is able to, move up above 2950 and sustain above that, I would certainly take a bullish view on it and, expect much better tidings, and not even in the days ahead, but in the months ahead. So I think it's at a very significant juncture where Infi is going to decide the trends across the next 6 to 8 months with probably the results which is going to come out now.
Okay, let's talk about some stock recommendations. And Dr. Narayan, to you first. What is it that you're recommending for next week?
I'll stick with news-based kind of stocks which are meeting up with approval in the market for buying. And for a buy, I'm choosing Maruti, even though it has gone up 6-7% during the day. I think it's almost a no-brainer. Fundamentally, the stock is well looked at. They gain about 1-1.5% market share. The yen is favoring them. All the other stocks in auto are going down, so I see a lot of switch buying which is happening. The kind of movement which we saw on Friday was extremely positive. On the charts, it looks good. I think it's a shoe-in for about a 100-point rise for this week. So buy it in the region of 1390, 1400. Keep about 20 rupees stop loss. Look for a 100-point gain. For the flip side, I want to also remain short because the market trend is a little bit iffy. And there I choose another higher beta stock, which is McDowell. I think when it broke below 1800 and broke also 1750, the stock has set off real warning signs that it wants to go down lower. The date for the offer has been announced, and there are no noises about revision in the prices. So I think people will come forward to take profits. And it should drive the stock down to about 1670, 1680 in the coming week. So somewhere in the region of 1760, 1770, you should go short with a stop of about 20 points. I think there is about nearly 800 points down on the side for the week.
Sandeep, what about your trading calls for Monday?
Aisha, I have a sell in Exide Industries, stop loss 123, target 114, 8 to 10% downside is what I see. A sell in NTPC, stop loss 143, target 132, again of 7 to 8% downside. And a buy in Maruti, stop loss 1365, target 1480.